everyone, and welcome to lesson 2 of my lockdown English lessons. The idea is to give you some input during this coronavirus lockdown. We're now into week 3, and to be honest with you, I'm starting to feel a bit more casual. I'm growing a beard. Maybe by the end of it, I'll start to look like one of ZZ Top. Who knows? But seriously though, I am starting to get used to it. Do you feel the same? I'm enjoying the mornings. I get up a little bit later than my normal 5:30. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Stephen, why do you get up at 5:30? You're an English trainer, not a baker. Good question. The reason is I have some groups and they like to start at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock in the morning. You know who you are. Thanks to everyone who got in touch after last week's lesson. Thanks for your nice comments. I'm glad that I can do something useful. I hope you're still enjoying it after today's grammar lesson. But first, I just wanted to recap something that we talked about last week. You remember we talked about one of the ways we can remember vocabulary with little groups of 3, sort of an increase each time. We talked about how a disease spreads last week, and we talked about an outbreak. If it doesn't get stopped, it becomes an epidemic. And if that doesn't get stopped, it becomes a pandemic. So it was a kind of increase in size or increase in intensity. And I asked you if you could remember any or think of any. And? Okay, I thought of a couple. One example would be wind. When we have a light wind, a soft wind in English, we call it a breeze. Then we have a normal wind. And then I guess an increase in intensity after that would be a gale. So there's one we could learn. Breeze, wind, gale. Another example from weather, because you know the English are obsessed with the weather. One would be with rain. So a soft rain, a light rain, we start with the word drizzle. And then after drizzle, we have a shower. And then after shower, there would be a downpour. So drizzle, shower, downpour. 3 possibilities. Okay, keep trying. Last week, I also asked you to pay attention to one section of the video because it included the topic for this week's lesson. This was the section that I meant. So since the start of the lockdown, I've done a million jobs in the house. I've taken all the glass back to the recycling. I've taken the paper back to the recycling. I've taken all the garden waste to the tip. I've tidied my office. I've done all the washing. I've sorted my screwdrivers out. Okay, you got it? Let's try it one more time with text. So since the start of the lockdown, I've done a million jobs in the house. I've taken all the glass back to the recycling. I've taken the paper back to the recycling. I've taken all the garden waste to the tip. I've tidied my office. I've done all the washing. I've sorted my screwdrivers out. So which grammar construction was that? Yes, it was using the present perfect. That's what I was doing when I was giving you a list of all the things that I've done. I wanted to show you how busy I had been, and so I was giving you a long list of all the things I've done. Now, the present perfect is quite a difficult one to explain, and from the feedback I get from students, it's also quite a difficult one to use. And I totally agree. And I think the reason for that is the present perfect can be used for so many things, and as teachers, we like to give you an overview of that. To show you the different ways we can use it. And I think the examples can get a little bit abstract and it's easy to get confused. Now, I think part of the reason for that is because as teachers, we don't want to feel like we're only telling you half of the story. We don't want to leave anything out. But maybe it's better to just concentrate on saying we can use the present perfect for many things, but today we're going to focus on one. In my examples from last week's lesson, I give you a list of all the things that I've done during the lockdown period. Here they are again. I've done a million jobs. I've taken the paper back to the recycling. I've taken the glass back to the recycling. I've taken all the garden waste to the tip. I've tidied my office. I've done all the washing. I've sorted the screwdrivers out. So let's look at the form of these sentences. Each one has the same construction. I've done, I've taken, I've tidied, I've done, I've sorted. So I've, as we know, is short for I have. So if we need a formula to describe how to make a present perfect sentence, then here it is. We use the verb have plus the past participle of the verb. Okay, now two things about that. When we say have, we have to be careful, because if we're talking about the third person, that means he, she, or it, then we use has. So for example, instead of I have done 1,000,000 jobs, then the third person would be he or she or it has done 1,000,000 jobs. Okay, second thing, the past participle. What does that mean? So normally when we learn our verbs, we learn them in a group of three: the present, the past, and the third one. That's the past participle. So for example, with a regular verb, we normally use ed at the end of the verb to make a past participle. So for example, work, worked, worked. For the irregular verbs, they can look different. Example, swim, swam, swum, drink, drank, drunk, put, put, and so on. So for our present perfect formula, what we need is the third one. Okay, that's how we make the present perfect. But why use the present perfect? And why has it got such a stupid name, present perfect? Because all of those things that I told you I did, I'd already done them when I told you. They were in the past. So why is it called the present? Why didn't I just make a list in the past simple of all the things that I did? I did 1,000,000 jobs. I took the paper back. I took the glass back. Because I started my list with a time reference. Watch again. So since the start of the lockdown, I've done 1,000,000 jobs in the house. I've taken all the... I said since the start of the lockdown. So that's a defined time period. So how is it defined? When does it start? When does it end? So we know it starts at the start of the lockdown, 18th of March. But when does it end? It continues up to the present. That's why it's called the present perfect. So all of these events, yes, they were in the past, but they're viewed from a present standpoint. They have a relevance to the present. So when I was telling you a big list of all the things I've done, what I want you to know is I've been busy. And these are all the things I've done in that time period. So this is a real world example of how you can use the present perfect. So if you're like me, human, and you like to be praised, because let's face it, all humans like to be praised. We can forget this, nichts gesagt ist genug gelobt. We all like praise. So if you like praise, then the present perfect is absolutely perfect for you. My wife, for example, she has to go into work some days. And when she gets home tonight, I can tell her, I've fed the cats, I've done the washing up, I've made the dinner, and I get praise. Perfect. Present perfect. That's the lesson for this week then. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, then please think about clicking on like or subscribe. And if you have any other questions or comments, or you want to ask if we can include something in the lessons, then please just get in touch. I'll be happy to help. In the meantime, then I'll see you next time. Have a good week. Stay home. Stay healthy.